trying something new that I've had. Good morning, by the way. Hope you all can hear me. This is Rhonda's Lovely Sparks. It looks so strange because I'm using this thingy here. Can y'all see this? And you know, I'm looking at this picture and doesn't she look fantastic? Doesn't she look comfortable? Well, that's not happening with me right now. Oh my God. I mean, I got it around my neck and make it look so comfortable. I'm like, can't get used to, like, I need to look over here and I'm like, okay, that's where I'm supposed to be looking? Okay. But then it's too close to my face. Oh my God. So I'm looking right now, trying to see how I look live. Welcome to Rhonda's Lovely Sparks. I'm trying something different right now. And to me, you know, I'm so used to these bougie hardware. I'm not used to this thing around my neck because every time I'm talking, it bounces up and down. So no, it's not like um, on the picture. Um, and I'm not used to looking over here. Hey, Joshua Gabriel. Hello, how are you doing this morning? I know it's your first. You know what? Hello, Eastside Herald. Shout out. Y'all, I'm trying something different, and my face feels like it's like right here. I'm trying this thing around my neck, which is this thingy right here. And I don't look that comfortable like her on that picture. She looks very comfortable. I'm trying to try some new stuff that I've had sitting around the house, but it just feels too close. Thank God I was first place. You was first place in what, baby? Tell me, Joshua, what was you first place in? Congratulations, by the way. Are you in the Olympics? No, but seriously, is that a GoPro? It's a, it's a, it's a thing you put around your neck. See that around her neck? Congratulations, Joshua! Congratulations! Oh my, Joshua, I just love your channel too. By the way, I was the first chit chat for earning. Wow, that's so cool, sweetheart. Congratulations. I know that you are growing so beautifully. I love following your content. I'm excited about I love where you live, by the way. And I also love this your surroundings and I feel like I'm on the bus with you. But I have to admit, hey sugar daddy, what's up? I know y'all, I'm sorry. I'm very close. I want to apologize in advance. This is what I'm using. It's not a GoPro. It's what you would call a necklace cell phone support. Okay? See how great she looks sitting there on the box? I don't look like that. I'm not sitting this comfortably. Uh it bounces up and down. It's okay around my neck. Shout out to my family in the room. We have Joshua Gabriel. He got 1,000. Congratulations. Standing ovation 1,000. Y'all subscribe to Sugar Daddy because he is a bad mojo. A mom, what's it? Bad mother humper. I think that's probably better. But Sugar Daddy, did you see CJ Stroud last night? So that's what Eastside is asking. Good morning, Lola. She's my Lola. So I'm on my cell phone, Eastside, and I have this thing, and I want to show Lola too. And I was telling people I don't look that comfortable. I mean, she's chilled back. I'm not comfortable like that. You put it around your neck. I'm on my regular cell phone, and I'm like in your face. I have no ability to like zoom away. And maybe there is. I just haven't figured that out yet. I know y'all don't want me all up in your face like that. Oh my God. So, Sugar Daddy, Eastside says, Sugar Daddy, did you see CJ Stroud last night? Sugar Daddy says a shout out to Lola. And Lola says, hey to Sugar Daddy. And Lola says, you don't. So we got, um, I forgot what you was responding to. I'm like really, really close. I'm testing something different. I'm on my cell phone, which is Andre, what kind of cell phone I have? A LG. Hubby's here. Oh my God, do I need him? And I need you all too. And so it's like real cheeky. It's real. I'm like really close and uncomfortable. Yeah, I mean it's uncomfortable. I I want to be able to like put my fingers on this and do this where I can zone in and then I can zone out. And I'm not able to do that, but I was trying to look for something comfortable. Just it's been sitting on my table for a minute. It's been sitting in there. Andre has one. I have one. I said, well, let me put it to test. Sorry, it's like, I'm like really close. So I'm going to take this off my neck right now. I'm fully dressed, by the way. I'm not trying to get extra likes. I'm fully dressed, and because I have to remind myself to do that, because when you get older, you lack modesty.
You should be taking a nap before you.
I've been asleep all night.
No, you haven't.
No, I haven't been up this morning. I went to bed. Remember when you got to bed last night? I was in the bed.
Yeah, but you were asleep. You were.
What time did I go to bed?
I don't know, Rhonda. I was asleep.
Come here. You want to come say hi?
No, I'm mad to hell with them. No.
Hey, Andre,
Hi.
can I have a kiss? Say hi.
Hi.
So hubby's trying to take care of me. He doesn't do a good job. Y'all, I don't know what I want to do. It's like, this is weird for me. It's like, I'm in my bedroom and I'm like, oh, this is weird. I just might just have to. Well, he's frustrated because our grandbaby is, our grandbaby's coming by. So he wants me to get some rest because he's a husband of a content creator. He knows I stay up a lot, and he just wants. Hey, Andre, he, can you get some for me? He wants me to get my rest. He knows that I've been like, I don't know if y'all can hear me well because I'm not wearing um you know um I'm not wearing a um. Andre, can you get that thing I could screw this on, like handheld, and I could hold it? I think it's over there on the table. Yeah, on your chef table cabinet thingy. So yeah, he wants, and then Lola says, "You've been up all night." I haven't. I don't think I've been. I see. I don't know my.
Want the one that screws onto the table?
Probably, yeah, that'll be good. So he wants to make sure I get my rest because grandson will be here today, and he wants to make sure I'm rested. So he's a wife of a content creator. That's challenging.
You
What's
want this?
beautiful? What is that?
Your
There's
cell phone.
there's you know what, I could use it, but there's one that's a short. It's on top of the. I need that too, but there's
Yeah,
one
I'm
that.
going to catch man. That's I'm
Okay,
trying.
it's okay. It's okay. So on the table, there's a stand that you set it on the table. See, he's a wife of a content creator. So I don't think I've been up all night. Let me figure out my hours. Lola, have you been up all night? And then all night
Damn it. talking about this?
No, it.
Ronda, come on here and give it to
Okay,
her.
look, Andre, listen to me. It has like three little legs, and it sits on top of the table. Hurry up! Snap, snap. That's right. No, I don't do that. So, yeah. So he wants to make sure I get my rest because he and I have to tell you this, and I know that y'all probably don't want to hear this. Here's Chadwick. Hi,
Yes?
Chatty. Yes. Thank you, honey. Lola said you sound upset.
I'm not.
He said he's not. He's from Patterson, New Jersey. Okay, wait a minute. I'm trying to I'm trying to fix something here, guys, ladies, and I'm testing some things. I'm testing different stands. I'm testing how to do more. Um, and I have a LG phone, and it's an old model. You know, when things are like 1 year, it's old, and I don't call it old because I keep things until it blows up. I don't ever just, see, this is something else I have. See that? So I have, shout out again to y'all. Shout out to Eastside Harold. Shout out to Lola. Shout out to Joshua Gabriel who made it. Hello, Joshua. Y'all check out Joshua's content too because he's on the bus and he takes you on a ride in New York. Is that right, Joshua? In New York? He takes you on a bus ride. And Joshua has a beautiful story. You all had to subscribe to listen to his story of overcoming adversity, living out there in New York, and finding a way to survive and independence. And shout out to Figaro. Is that Figaro? Eastside, no, I got my sleep. So Lola says, Eastside, I got my sleep. I don't know. I don't know if I interpret her correctly or not. So I'm trying to, what I showed you just now, I'm just trying to learn how to, sorry, everybody. I'm just trying to, okay, here it is. Learn how to use these other gadgets I have. And they're incredible. There. And it's one of those handheld thingy-majigs. So I'm trying to get in the habit of using these different things that my husband bought me a long time ago. Before I was even wasn't never thinking about being a content creator. And my husband's like, Rhonda, you have the personality for it. Come on, come on. So anyway, these devices and these things, he would order their kits. They're like content creator kits, and they were sitting in our we call our craft room where we store things too. It's an extra room in the house, in our apartment, and it was just sitting there. And then finally, when I decided, I think it was sitting there like for 2 years, and finally I decided to when I decided to go live, I have this hardware and I'm taking inventory, and I'm like, I got some good stuff. Shout out to Sugar Daddy. Your husband found you a hobby. He did, he sighed. He found me something that literally gave me a spark. Seriously. No pun intended. um, he saw something in me that I wasn't ready to deal with. And I was going through some really, really hard times, you know? I mean, as far as, family situations and harassment by family members. I mean, just really some really dark stuff. And then it just had me in just a sad place. I'm trying to see, okay, I've got to look over here. What do I look at? Oh, here, let's see. Oh, okay. I think I'll look over here. And so he kept, the stuff start coming in through Amazon. And my birthday was coming, my birthday came and went. My Christmas came, and I saw these boxes, mics, and, stands and all that. Yeah, harassment. Yes. Yeah. Stands and stuff. And I'm like, damn, I'd rather have a tiramisu dessert than this box of stuff. Because I wasn't ready yet, right? Then I found out my husband is so much smarter than I thought he really was. And I'm not a I'm not a feminist, Eastside. I'm not. No, he's an intelligent man. And just jokes aside, he really saw something in me and something that he wanted to bring out. So it just sat there honestly for 2 years. And I said, well, let me open up. I just now opened up a couple of boxes, and I'm like, okay. And yeah, it was harassment. It was um, family members, and you know how you could be a part of family. Okay, okay, Lola. Um, you could be a part of family, which could be maybe when you're growing up and you're going, oh, I love them, you know, um, honor your mother, honor your father, right? Religion. I dropped that video for you yesterday. Yay! I'm so glad. I need that. I thank you. I'm gonna. Was it about money? No, it was about. To be honest with you, it had a lot to do with me not agreeing to everything that. You know what I'm saying? Agreeing. Like I found out, it just seemed a little bit more like. Okay, good. It seemed a little bit more like cult like. Once I started wanting to get away, not get away like run away, but just and I always was really close and bonded with my family. I was like right there, that traditional Southern family togetherness type of thing. Um, but when there were some things that seemed questionable, and when I started challenging the status quo, then that's when you find out the real ass parts. Okay? As long as you're a part of the circle, even if it's things you disagree with, like certain things I just disagreed with. And it wasn't like just trying to be different. It was something like, well, let's see if I can think of this. I kind of hadn't been thinking about it that deeply because I've evolved, right? But it's good for me to talk about it. But it's really weird. It's like I have these strong standards when it comes to, let's say, little girls being molested. Very strong, strongly against that, of course. And when you hear some backwoods underground stuff that seem to be passive about certain things, you know, making excuses or not addressing the issues, um, giving someone the pass and not being relatable to victims, but just coming up with some backwoods stuff like, what's the word? Yeah, he must love her. He must really like her. Some things. And I have very intelligent parents, y'all. Right? I mean, they both went to Kansas City Art Institute. they're liberals. They're very intelligent people, and that's probably just how I see them, right? My whole life as a child. And then there were some things that just seemed questionable. And it got to a point where when it felt um, like cult like, you know what I'm saying? Like just really strange. Um, and I'm not saying that politics divides family. It wasn't about politics. Matter of fact, we vote all the same way. But I'm just saying, just some things that were questionable for me. And but I think what really happened too is that I realized really when after my retirement, I went, I slept more than ever because I'm retired. And when you sleep, your brain will process things and answers will come, right? Answers will start coming. The aha moments, like, whoa. And I started realizing that just because someone is your family, your parents, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be on the same. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're mentally healthy too. You end up learning as you get older that there's some things, right, on behavior patterns. And I remember my daddy would say something like, you've always been like that. And he wasn't saying that in a kind way. And I learned, as pathetic as it may sound, welcome back. It wasn't about money. Welcome back, Lola. As strange as it might sound, um, I end up learning that I'm just trying to find the words to come out so I can focus on my flow. You know, let it flow. It's hard to flow sometimes. Um, that my parents, as when they were younger, of course, I end up learning that there were issues, right? You look at their time growing up. My dad was probably poor from the South, was beat a lot by his dad. Back then, that's how, unfortunately, in some ways, men raise their sons. They beat them a lot. Today, we'll call that abuse. He had a sister that would set him up to get beatings. She would lie on him, and he was such a young boy doing grown man's labor when it came to uh, working at a dairy at a young age and would milk cows before he, went to school and, grown man's work for a boy. He was a cowboy. He loved horses. He rode horses, but there were some things that affected him as a child. Once you start figuring that out about your parents, um, and not to judge against them. I have compassion and love and understanding. But let me tell you about what turned. And then my mother, she is parents. She's a daughter of the Tulsa riot. Um, the Tulsa riots. It's a better word for it because they weren't people who were melanated weren't a part of the riots. They were victims of a race that hated them because of their color, and the city was burned down, and they were attacked, assaulted from the sky. Airplanes dropped homemade bombs and stuff. So yeah, I understood. Her biological father, served war, and so the point is, all of this stuff. Her biological mother died when she was 2 years old. Okay, so there's a lot of mental health things going on. How that affected me when I've learned in my 50s, how that affected me was that they had this, yeah, yes, yeah, very historic. They had this abandonment. They experienced abandonment. They experienced abuse. and lost. She lost her mother when she was 2 years old to tuberculosis. It was a lot of pain, um, you know, and I ended up learning a lot. So I knew that, that gave me, had me to respect them more and love them even more because of that. But how it went against me is that because of this mental health of abandonment and abuse, um, and pressure and growing up working like a slave, you know, uh, going through a whole lot of social issues, you would think, when they were younger, when they raised me, oh, they loved me and they, higher middle income, they were making a lot of money. And my dad owned a 1966 GTO, and my mother owned a Pontiac Firebird. So they were rolling in the dough. The point is that as they were getting older and they started losing people in their life, like their mothers and their fathers. And my mom lost her mother at 12 due to suspected tuberculosis as well, Sugar Daddy says. Yes, yes. So when they started getting older, life became more challenging, right? I mean, they were alive and well during the riots that happened when Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. And, um, Robert F. Kennedy. These things they experienced, right? So that's what inspired me to always take, learn psychology and learn about being compassionate. That's what made me the firstborn who probably have the most loving compassion than anybody in my family because of what I went through as a child. There were sparks and moments where, very rare, but once you get slapped, by my mom, found out later she suffered bipolar. So these things that, as a child, when you got a butt whipping, that's the norm back then. Probably not a healthy norm, uh, but that happened. But I feel that when they lost parents to death and more life started happening, whatever they experienced, there's some unhealthy things came along the way. And it could have had a big contribution or contributed by um, them having envy of me. As sick as it sounds and strange, it's real because I've gotten a lot of counseling and I read a lot of books and to understand family dynamics. Because what didn't make sense to me that everything I did was perfection because that's what they taught me. That's how they raised me. So I strived for excellence. As a child, I was in choir, I did tap dancing, jazz. I went to a private school for a short period of time, a Catholic school. They were young and making a lot of money, and they invested a lot in me that they didn't have the luxury to experience, right? But after mental health and tumultuous relationships between the two at times, they're still married today. They're married 60 years now. That some unhealthy things come out or came out against me. And what happened basically, their parents adored me. Hear this dynamic. Watch this. Listen to the dynamic. Which are my grandparents, is their parents. Their parents were very harsh on them, right? When it came to me, I'm the firstborn granddaughter. I lit up the world, and whatever that my parents went through with their parents, I didn't go through, right? So there was some development of, even though they would tell you to your face, oh, I love you, this is so wonderful, blah, 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 there's some mental health developing of probably some things that they never worked out inside themselves. It turned into, as I got older, I strive for excellence. I was a virgin when I got married. That's striving for excellence, right? Because back then, no, you don't have sex before you get married. I had really good grades. I was a part of the honor roll a couple of times. I was um, perfect attendance at school because that's how I was influenced by my parents. Excellence. So, with this excellence, there could have been some unhealthy times in their head, some mental health things going on, where they resented me because my dad's father beat him a lot. How old was you when you got married? I was 20 when I got married. Um, and again, I was a virgin when I got married. So obviously, yes, I'm the firstborn, I'm the oldest. And I'm 6 years older than one sister, and I'm 9 years older than the other sister. So that tells you they waited that long to have children. That tells you I was the baby for 6 years, right? So it means I got a lot of first of everything, first of this experience. And they did. I didn't feel like maybe I was raised, probably my mother and daddy was strict, but I didn't see it as being strict. That was the norm for me. My mother taught me calligraphy when I was a little girl. She taught me, when I was in school, I already had like sixth grade reading level. You know what I'm saying? This excellence. They instilled this in me. And then when they got older, what's happened in my life when I got a divorce from, my first divorce, right? Because I'm married to a great man now. Lola says, how old were you when you lost your V card? You know what I like about Eastside? I don't know what Eastside motive is, but I'd like to feel that Eastside's motive is that he's very curious and he wants to understand. So, what happened through life? Obviously, what I did in school or when I got married, I got a divorce because he was god awful. And when I say awful, that's politely putting it. There's things I can't even say. And you know me, I'm pretty transparent. So they got mad at me. They turned against me for getting a divorce because it was against their religion. You see where I'm getting at now? Eastside, what you mean? I'm still a virgin. I mean, yeah. I call that being nosy. Sugar Daddy just puts it there. He just like right there. I hope I said shout out to everybody. Did I not? Did I get? You were 17. Oh, look at you. I was 20, and that was like what I heard. It was unheard of, but I thought everybody waited till they got married. And then so when I started making choices, I started making choices. That was what they taught me to do. You know what I'm saying? I grew up on a farm. I got up early every morning. I fed the animals. I watered this. I did that. I cut, a 5 acre yard. I mean, then I realized that maybe what I had accomplished in life. Oh, sugar daddy. Well, good. I mean, not good that you actually lost it at 21, but I don't feel alone. I don't feel alone anymore. I was 20. Um, and it was, if I think back now, I don't have regrets because I wouldn't have my kids. So that's why I don't complain about that. But at the same time, the situation was god awful. And then Lola said I was 18, so I'm not alone, right? Yay, not alone. I guess down here in the country, a lot of people lost their virginity very, much younger than that. It's kind of sad in certain situations. So I started learning that as I lived and as I got older, I didn't realize that I was doing things that they have not been able to accomplish. And it could have been there were barriers and probably throughout my life where they try to hijack my life. And me not knowing about that, Lola says I should have waited longer. I mean, you know how that goes. Sometimes when you are in a situation, you feel you're making the best decision. Lola, Um, but I didn't realize when the things I was accomplishing in life, that they were resenting me because of whatever they went through as growing up that they weren't able to overcome. And again, it could be now I'm finding out that they were hijacking me all the way. Putting up traps for failure, to fail. Isn't that sick? But that just tells me honestly, I didn't want to wait that long. Sugar Day said, I've never been married. I've never been married. I didn't want to wait that long. And then Lola says, I think it was a little both. Everybody around us was not a virgin at the time. Yeah. Um, then I just saw that I didn't know till later. Understand, I ended up learning this later, putting two and two together, because my whole life they could always depend on me and I would come through 101%. My dad needed help with this. I'll go get a second job. I send him money to get his roof done. Then I found out later the money he took and he gave it to my sister. I got a second job to help my dad pay for the roofing where there was some tornado damage, some strong winds from tornado in the area. They didn't get hit by a tornado. So you end up finding things that, oh, because you're the oldest, this is what is expected out of you. Yeah, this is what is expected out of you. And because you're the oldest, because the expectations of them, they were beat. My dad was beat for not doing what he's supposed to do, right? So I end up, like, if I was always providing for them, right? It's kind of like my younger sisters, they were honestly lazy. And I stayed home because I lived in the country. I stayed home because I was the firstborn, and my other sisters went and got a college education. And I didn't get a college education because I was firstborn. I had to stay home and take care of the farm. But they went to college. So with that, I wasn't bitter, right? I think every time there were traps and things set up for me to fail, I was like, la da 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 da. I overcome adversity. Oh, I just look. It kind of reminds you of have your parents ever apologized? Oh no, no, never. And that's why we're estranged right now, because what was healthier for me was to not ever be around him because of finding out the truth. Um, really helped me become a better person for being away and having distance, because it set me back this last almost 5 years ago. Have you ever told them how you felt? Yeah, try to communicate. And my dad, when you have someone who's made up in their brain and they're not going to change, and they're 1,000,000% stubborn and stuck in their cult ways. Remember cult, remember that magic word. And their belief system that there is no way you could ever sit down, let's talk about it. I mean, they taught me how to communicate. They taught me, at least, I don't know if it was in healthier times, they were just trying to be the best parents they could be. because they were younger with me, and they were mentally healthier. And then as they got older, you know, there was marriage problems between them. Even though I can say what I felt, what I saw as a child, I felt that I felt that everything was great. So when I say toxic, it's like my sisters are a part of that circle of the cult, right? But since I'm the oldest and firstborn, it's like, well, this is what's demanded of you. And remember the Cinderella story where the two wicked stepsisters and Cinderella was slaving and doing everything? That was me. And the wicked stepmother, I think she was a stepmother, that was my mother and my dad. Even though, in my eyes, in my heart, in my mind, I always saw beauty. And plus, they had a way of hiding a lot of that toxicity, right? They could mask it. Well, when they got older, they couldn't mask it anymore. Oh my God. My cats wow out when they come to the room. I don't know what it is, but they wow out. Like they run in here. My parents were very strict with me, only girl. I found something so dark and I started putting two and two together. When finances came into place and when you have family members who are burying their parents and mental health just starts accumulating and they're dealing with racism, stuff like that. But how they really, um, when I got older, it was the demand of what you're supposed to do. Because when I was younger, understand we didn't have a washer and dryer. So I washed clothes and hung them on the line and fold them up. I was like a fast moving workaholic type of person. I mean, I got a thrill when I was younger. I got a thrill from accomplishing something and feeling appreciated, right? Because there were some times when they would say, "Oh, thank you, Rhonda." My dad would do it all the time. "I'm so proud of you." There was more, I would say, healthier moments than sad moments. But when the sad moments came, it was very bad. So Sugar Day says, I could write a book about my parents' relationship, a very long and complicated story, yes. And then Eastside Herald said, Lola, Cowboys, do you know how to be submissive? Eastside, so curious. Is that what it is, Lola? Is he really curious? He's so curious. Lola teaches him a lot of things. Is that what's that about? You see the rose-colored glass thing? I'm older. I really hadn't changed since I was a child. I'm still that free spirit child. Oh Lordy, wrong one, Eastside. Um, how you see me now? I'm just older. I'm the same person. We get older, but we're the same, right? I still have that rose-colored glass type, looking through rose-colored glasses, see the good in everyone. Because it was the first 6 years of my life that they say children absorb things and retain things. Well, the first 6 years of my life, they did a darn good job. I mean, they really did. I could remember some things and put two and two together. Um, but what was strange, my punishment came as I was growing older into teens and teenager, and still, um, like the word that Esad used, submissive to my parents and yes to everything, right? No disrespect. And I could just say, ah, and my mother would slap my eyeballs out my head. I know it sounds funny, but get slapped like that. And I mean, she would kick me between my legs. And I thought, oh boy, I'm never going to be able to have children anymore. Or not anymore. I would never be able to have children again. Or not again. Let me get that together. I'm reading Lola's post and she goes, shit. Yeah. Know their role. Women need to be submissive to their men. But there are times that men like to be submissive to women too. Don't get that twisted. Um, I'm playing, kinda. Probably not playing. Maybe. I remember it didn't happen a lot, but when you do something, if you're home for 18 years, hi baby. When you're home for 18 years and you go through that for 18 years, and let's say you estimate that it happened at least twice a year, let's just do a safe rounding. You ready? Let's say I lived home for 18 years, 19, no, 20 years, actually, because when I got 20, that's when I moved out. When I turned 20 and got married. So let's say 20 years. Let's do a safe roundup. Let's say at least once a year, something abusively violently abusive happened to me from parents. Let's just say once a year. Now think about that. That's at least 20 years of my life. I was either kicked between my legs, I was slapped harshly, and I grew up in a time where you just didn't talk back. I grew up, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I believe in that certain limit of that, but I'm saying I wasn't trying to talk back. I would get blamed for things that my sisters did. If they stole something, they would lie and blame it on me, and then I would get the extension cord. You see? So, whatever abuse my dad went through, he felt that he could probably parent me the same way. But then, even in his heart and mind, he really believed that he was parenting me better than how he was parented. You see what I'm saying? So every generation has a thing where they probably feel like they're doing better than their parents, right? And both my parents really felt that they were doing better than how they were treated by their parents. I think because we live so isolated in the country that there was probably a lot of things they felt that they could do and not get caught. I remember when I was on a porch and something happened, and my mother, I think it was I was on this huge porch that we had. We're staying there temporarily, and my mother wanted me to watch my baby sister, and she was riding a tricycle, and she almost rolled off the porch because those porches back then they were pretty high, and I was little, I was like 7 years old watching my sisters, right, 8 years old, and it looked like she might have went to the edge. She didn't fall off actually, and my mother got a bamboo fishing pole and hit me across my face, my eyes, and almost blinded me in one eye. I was rushed to the hospital, and they were telling me to lie because, of course, I lied and said, "Oh, I tripped over a stick trying to chase the turkey." And I know it sounds funny, but when you're in the farm, you understand, what that is. And then I lied. And I remember when I was a little girl and my mother, wanted me to watch my baby sister, and she was just born, and she rolled off the bed, and I was just 7 years old, and she hit the floor, right? So my mother started swinging and hitting me, and I almost, my body ended up crashing into the glass. We had very tall windows like these, and went through the glass, and I had these cuts on my arms because I went through the glass like that. So, like I said, when things happened, when you're younger, a year seems like a million years, right? To them, with someone with mental health problems. Um, they had just a great way of masking it in front of people. They, I can understand too that they did strive for perfection and excellence. As a black family who down south, owned 50 acres and had a 3 bedroom brick house built, and you know, having something that black people just didn't have here, and then striving above excellence and working. And so you hear it still in my tone. I don't blame them because I end up learning how, not on purpose, but I learned how to forgive every time those things happen to me. I learned how to forgive. And that ends up being instilled in me now, why I don't lie, why I believe in being transparent, why I am the way I am. That seems to other people I'm a little different. I'm very nice and things because I, I went through that, which made me a better person. Um, Let me see what someone wrote here. I got to look at live chat. I missed something that, and I don't think I could pull it up here. Oh, here it is. Sugar Daddy said, my dad lost both parents by the age of 16. I'm heading home from work. I'll catch the rest later. Okay, Sugar Daddy, thanks for your support. And you being here has helped me talk. Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, so I think people, when they're listening to me, they can go, oh, that's why she was an alcoholic. That's why I mean, not alcoholic. That's why she was that's a workaholic. That's why she was a workaholic. If her parents had all of this, I know the question is, if her parents had all of this, then why was she homeless? Because I didn't want to move back home. I wasn't going to do that. Because I knew learning later, getting outside the country and learning more about what's out there in the world, I ended up learning about myself more, how I could self help, how I could be better, how I could still forgive my parents and love them, and still instilled in me for quite some time that I'm supposed to work myself to death, or you would burn in hell if you didn't. You know, those kind of teachings, you know what I'm saying? So, last 4.5 years, I've been estranged from them because things got worse. Because when I started standing up for myself at 50 something years old, then I found out that, yeah, they conned me. They conned me. And that's a whole nother YouTube. Little pieces at a time. And they used me again, right? It was nothing different from when I was a child that they were doing. I turned 50 something years old. I'm 58 now, so 4 years, I was 54, young at 53. I end up really seeing some real bad stuff because they lost their filter and then they started blurbing out things, right? They were older and they started talking and they started telling me and they started talking to me a certain way and they started telling me things and I heard it, and that's when they had just nasty attitudes, and I started listening and I was like shocked. I'm working 2 jobs to help you, and that wasn't enough. You see, wasn't enough for them. So they end up really, really using my young life. They end up using a lot of my youth up as like enslavement. So, last 4.5 years or so, um, I would say right before that happened, when we moved from up north in Dallas area, and moved to be with them because my mother it was a whole lot of stuff. They were gravely, gravely ill. So what do? They're gravely, gravely sick. You drop everything, because that's what I did when I was a child. Dropped everything. Moved down here, moved with them, found out a whole bunch of con stuff, found out a bunch of lies, how they wasted my life away by asking me to do things and asking for money and just using me. when they would use me to get things and give it to my sisters. Money, whatever it was. It was really sick. But things got worse. So since I didn't fall into the cult, since whatever I went through towards independence and surviving being homeless by myself because I didn't need them, right? Being homeless, I was messing what they would tell me. You destroyed the family name for being homeless. You destroyed the family name. You understand? A lot of verbal abuse. Um, that's why I'm such an advocate for people with homelessness, because bad things happen to wonderful people. So found out when I found out the truth. You know how when they have this saying, there's a ghost around that's haunting you, right? There's a ghost, but you know, let me start back over. You know there's something haunting you, but you haven't figured it out. And then when you find out that it's a ghost and who the
Come on, y'all.
ghost
Come on.
and who the thank you, honey,
Come on.
and who the ghost is, then the ghost was okay.
Come on.
I'm getting my wording wrong. Let me start over. Okay. I
They
used to
don't want to
use
come out. They laying there.
okay. Um with the ghost part, let's see. Something's going on in your life. I'm trying to see if I get that. I used to say it all the time, y'all. Y'all got to hear this. This is pretty good. It's something that's helped me throughout my life understand things, right? And I end up learning, how do I put it? You're around, you don't pay attention to your surroundings, everything's just copacetic, it's cool. Then you realize and you figure out the ghost, right? You end up finding out the answer, you found answers, you put the puzzles together, and you find out the ghost. And then guess what happens? Guess what the ghost starts doing? When the ghost feels that you have finally figured them out, then they start to what? Haunt the hell out of you. When I started figuring how that applies to me, when I started figuring things out, my parents got worse with me. They started stalking and haunting me. Oh my God, she just won't die. She's always making me look bad because she looks at life so positive and all that inner crap. You know, when it got older, they got just worse. They always were like that. They just had a filter. When they got older, they lost their filter and I started finding out things, right? And not that I'm resenting them because I found out things. They were treating me worse when I was 50 something years old. Gave up everything. Got my severance pay from retirement, got all of that good stuff. Came down and invested that money into that home, which is the home I grew up in. And I invested money into a part of the house that was a garage that was turned into a den. My dad didn't want that as a garage, so he said I can use this as living space. So they said we could use that space to live. So I changed that into like a wonderful living space, like a suite for my husband and I. And I was going to invest my money into like a nice deep jacuzzi type tub and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Found out that they just used me to help them get on their feet. Understand, I'm 50 some years old and I'm so like evolved, right? Experienced some wonderful things without them. Experienced great things about life, right? Positive all the freaking time, which they couldn't stand. Then did you know my parents came after me by filing false charges of abuse and theft that I stole money from them? Thank God that I'm a good bookkeeper because what they didn't realize when they were accusing me of stealing money, because that's what I've been through my whole life and there it is, East Side money. That's why I've been through, and check out the replay so you can hear the full story. Damn, that's crazy. Yes. Yes. So, wait, it gets juicier. You ready to hear this? They didn't know that I retired from my job and I got a severance pay. Pretty decent check. Okay, they assumed that I was stole their money. Well, of course, I spent all that money out of my pocket doing upgrades. I fixed my dad's roof. I fixed the leak around the chimney. I got rid of a lot of trash and garbage. And money will cause a family to fight faster than anything. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Eastside, for helping me identify that. And Lola says, wow, you a better person. I could not forgive them. So hold up. We ain't even started. Hold up. So, of course, I kept, of course, I paid out of my pocket $3,000 to have some will, living will retirement type um, paperwork, which means a will. Um, oh, what else is it called, y'all? My brain went through something right now. When they power of attorney, um, all the retirement paperwork that's needed for everyone should do it. Understand, when they sign a power of attorney, they have three witnesses that's no kin to us that read something to them, somebody who's non-biased, and they agree. And it's their signatures on everything. I had nothing to do with that influence. That was them that wanted to do it. That's their decision. I never used the power of attorney, ever, because I wanted to be as independent as possible, and it wasn't needed. Power of attorney was in case they got to a point, where, they weren't able to do anything. It was to protect them. And the paperwork was done to protect the land, because when you're getting home health care services or nursing services or any kind of services like therapy and stuff, the government will take your land. After your loved one dies, they take your land unless you fill out a Lady Bird Johnson deed. And those who of you all who don't know Lady Bird Johnson, she is Lyndon Baines Johnson's wife, right? Who was the president, who became president of the United States after JFK was assassinated. Lyndon Baines Johnson. As a matter, his wife is from where I live. So it's kind of like, you end up knowing things. It's called Lady Bird Johnson deed. Look that up. And what Lady Bird Johnson deed does is that there's a lot of black families, just letting you know, out here that loses their land because they don't know about it. So what happens, they lose their land because if they're getting any kind of home health care, nursing services, physical therapy, uh, nursing services, assisted living, that these places can take your land, the government would take your land to pay them back. Because a lot of people are living going, oh, it's free, it doesn't cost me anything. Y'all, ain't nothing free out there. There's nothing free. That's why you see the government owning so much land. Because people end up losing their land. People end up losing it. So Lady Bird Johnson deed. So they fill that out. And I did all the paperwork. I didn't do the paperwork. I paid for the paperwork so they could have things set to secure themselves. Let me get to the juice, Esau, because I know you're waiting for it too. You and Lola are waiting for this. You ready? So they went to Adult Protective Services and lied to me 100 times and said I stole their money. When I had this perfect journal and receipts and copies, and I used my Wells Fargo card, and uh, I'm glad I can smile now. And I just had all my expenses to reflect on my Wells Fargo card, right? Because I had all this money for my severance pay. I retired so I could be home with my parents, right? To help them with the farm, again, because that's, guess what? A repeat when I was a kid. See? Repeating what I did when I was a kid. Um, and being understanding and loving because of them aging and being gravely sick. So, of course, I had all my books in order, and when they came to investigate me, my mother would call Adult Protective Service. We moved. We were there like for 6 months, and we moved out. Um, my mother, during the 4 years we've been away, she would call Adult Protective Services randomly twice a year. Twice a year. Um, and why she would call Adult Protective Services. Hold up. I'm surprisingly mom with tickets to Paris. Okay, am I back? Let me see if I'm back. I'm sorry, I ended up getting this pop up on my phone, and when I swiped, removed myself. Okay, looks like I'm back. Okay, I'm back. So I was getting to the point, right? Thank you, Lola. Thank you. Um, so my mother, because she suffered from Parkinson's, bipolar, schizophrenia, which I ended up getting diagnosis on her when I met her, when I came back down south, when I was still working up north. I'd come down on my vacations and took off a lot of sick leave and family leave for my mother. I got a diagnosis for her so I can get her on the right medication, right? So she had all these mental issues and she was never diagnosed. Not correctly. She was doing a lot of health care on her own, and you know me, I'm an advocate for it. So found out her diagnosis was Parkinson's, schizophrenia, bipolar, and probably prescription pain medicine addiction, and also nasal inhalant addiction, because her doctor always prescribed her nasal inhalant stuff, right? She didn't understand that she was addicted to it, to those things. So, I'm still not telling all the story, but I could say I'll skip to this. They ended up winning every case. She ended up calling Adult Protective Services. She ended up calling Adult Protective Services around the holidays. It was like clockwork. It was always Christmas, and she always called around New Year's or around when her mother died. Because there were times she would forget. Oh no, it's Alzheimer's, by the way. Memory loss. So she would call. I'm talking about recently, last 4 years, not these last 2 years. Thank you God. She finally stopped. And they had all the copies, of course. You know, they're like they had to go through the process of investigating. It became very. It was harassment and stalking. I was telling Eastside, harassment and stalking. She would call twice a year, and she was encouraged by my sisters to do it because I have wicked stepsisters. Well, they act like stepsisters are better than that. They were just wicked. Then, did you know that I had a detective that knocked on my door? They went, when they found out they couldn't do anything with Adult Protective Services, they had a detective to do an investigation. They went crying to a detective. The detective, long story short, of course, there was no case because I had all this paperwork. The thing is that my parents had no idea I got severance pay. Okay? Paranoia is a mother, right? Paranoia and their diagnosis. My dad had an undiagnosed Alzheimer's. He wasn't diagnosed yet, but he had Alzheimer's. So you put that two together, and then you just get a whole bunch of like abuse again in my 50s, a lot of verbal. And my dad would get the gun when we were there, when I was older, and would sit on the porch with the gun. It was him threatening me when we were living there. It was his way of saying, "Oh, I'm just here to shoot the blue jays because they're aggressive birds." I know that sounds corny as hell, but people in the country, they know blue jays are aggressive, and they'll make that excuse as to why they carry a gun. My dad would walk around the house in circles 100 times. You understand? They just got more evil because not only because of mental health, because I ended up learning that how they were acting today was there were behaviors like that when they were younger. You see? So long story short, the detective was Very nice, by the way. Of course, he was so happy I had all my paperwork. It made his case bet easier. He told me that it happens a lot. That what I was going through, it happens a lot. I ended up spending over 15 to 18 thousand dollars at my parents' house and lost it all on upgrades and fixing things that needed repair and extermination services and have the field and the pasture and yard cut and the walls painted and they were borderline hoarders. And I lost all that to have a peace of mind. Attorney said I could, it's a word for it, but I could easily sue them back. I just let it go. I just want a peace of mind. So, of course, the detective said, thank you for the paperwork. He said it happens a lot. It didn't feel like that to me. I felt like I was the only one because I was going through so much shit. There it is, Eastside, the harassment, the stalking. After I left, and they were shocked that I had gotten help from a friend of ours who brought like a horse trailer and some trucks to help us move. And his wife is Dominican. She came and helped us move out of mom's and dad's house. And we were out. They finally stopped. So for 2 years so far, which contributed to me having anxiety and which contributed to me having a channel about anxiety to help people with anxiety. Have all my paperwork. Thank God I had the retirement paperwork, like, all this paperwork I paid for by attorney because something, paid the attorney because something obviously told me I'm a smart businesswoman and don't ever go in anyone's house, including your parents' house, and do things without having that paperwork done. So I had that. I had proof of, me paying out of pocket to contractors to repair things and haul off garbage because it was just a mess. We had new windows installed. I mean, so I had planned everything before we moved out. We found a place, a nicer place to live. We had people to help us move our stuff out of there and then move in the same day. Everything was planned. I had money saved. I didn't go completely broke. I had some money stashed away. And so we moved in our new place. We had, we could hook up our internet and our electricity, and everything you need, our phone service, all that. It was a smooth transition. So 2 years I haven't heard from them. Now my dad called this year on my birthday, and he left a voice message and said, "Hi Rhonda, I love you, happy birthday." If I call them back, it will be a trigger for them. And when I say trigger, because of the mental health, they will go on repeat. That spiral, that tornado spin. Hello, baby. Hello, this is a sweet baby. So, Nippy, your daddy told you to get out of here. Hi, sweetheart. Oh, yes. Hello, baby. I think she feels my emotions. Nippy is the one who feels my she feels my anxiety. Nippy is the cat that does that. If she feels me emotional, she'll come up here and she'll start saying something. Isn't that amazing? So that's just I wanted to share that with you, and thanks for you all support and inspiration. It's a whole lot of, I don't mind answering questions because this helped me. This helps me. But I tell you what, that was crazy, seeing a detective knock on my door, and that was during a time where it is still the same time, so time hasn't passed where, you got people calling cops on black people, crying wolf. My own, there's grave stupidity. Parents called cops on me. You know what I'm saying? And when someone calls a cop on you, I'm okay, baby. I'm okay. Hello. So I'm going to calm down because my cat gets upset. Okay. I'm okay, baby. Yes, hello. she can feel my energy. So she is. That's Nippy. Forgot what I was saying. She was meowing so loudly. Um, what's I saying? Okay. What was I saying about the detective? So again, they thought that I was spending their money because there's no way in hell Rhonda could have money. You know, it's kind of like that goes way back what I was saying about my history, you know, with them, where they'd always ask me for money and, you know, this kind of weird stuff, right? And give my money away to someone else. So, um, but they just couldn't process it. Oh, I had money and I paid it out of my pocket. It was my money. And so the sheriff, you know, was the detective actually. They sat in front of that detective. The detective told me that my sister was with them when they went to a detective. She was sitting there right next to them, encouraging them. Because my sisters put a lot of things in their hearts and minds because they were more frail. They didn't have a much of a filter at all. And even with their mental health, they were older. And, you know, my sisters took more advantage of the situation. Hello, baby. Hi. Um, I'm okay. So, it's the anxiety came from being harassed by getting a call. This is Adult Protective Services. There's an investigation your mother had filed. Being harassed twice a year. At least it was twice a year. It's like, dang. So that's just a short story of it. But that's just basically me. Okay, I'm going to take her out. This is basically me being able to identify the problem and, you know, becoming better, a better person from it. I opened up a YouTube channel. I opened up a YouTube channel to help me with that anxiety and stress. That's why when I see you all come to my channel, I'm getting the cats out. Hey, baby. Here's Chadwick. Say hi. Well, if that cat said hi, I would like die. Hello, baby. Yes, you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful. Oh, yes, he's a big one, too. He's a big cat. Okay, come on. We're going to get out. I'm going to put you out. Okay, I had to get the cats out because she was crying, too, because she wanted to get out. She's like, this is too much negative energy for me. Let me get the hell out of here. Ah, but it helps me talking about it because it's given me a lot of confidence. I share this story. I'm transparent with it because I found out as I was going through this, I found out that I wasn't alone, that there was a lot of people going through and went through worse. The stories out there I heard from other people saying that family members would come down and kidnap the parent and haul ass up north somewhere. So, wow. I really felt I was by myself because that's what was instilled in me, you know, that upbringing. So I ended up just becoming more open-minded and learning about new things. That, yeah, your family can F you over. Yeah, your family, you know, just because you're family doesn't mean that, you know, that bad things ain't going to happen. That if you see some bad things your family is doing, then guess what? They could do it to you too. But the thing is that you go, Rhonda, why was you their target? Because I was first born. Because I was able to do things that they weren't able to do. And they resented me for it. Because I just didn't roll over and die and ask anybody for help. Then I ended up figuring things out without asking anybody for help. I would never go to them for help. I figured it out. And I was still giving to them. You see? So for me, being older, that I had to break out of the generation curse of, oh well, this is tradition. You got to stick with tradition. You burn in hell if you don't honor your mother and father. Oh, trust me, I honored them. I honored them with a lot. I did pay for a lot of things. I took care of them. I did everything, and they just didn't. They didn't. They couldn't. They didn't have the capacity to appreciate it. You know, there's some people just don't have the capacity. So when you combine all that thing and their history, those things, their history, the family loss, the just probably when they were younger, they were probably just born effed up too. And you go, well, Rhonda, do you think you're going to be diagnosed with any of those things? No, because my mother said she was describing to me the things that she went through as to why she's diagnosed with what she has. So I didn't go through that. However, throughout my life, how did I overcome the abuse? Well, I became a poet. I started singing. So when you hear me sing to you, it comes from a very painful place. The tone, the maturity, and the tone, and the you are that. When people sing like that, trust me, they've been through some hell. It's seasoned, it's seasoned voice. It's pain. It's strain. It's the overcoming, the celebration, the celebrating of the overcoming. And the reason why I just turned out to be really a great person is because I was constantly challenged with bad shit around me, that I always had to evolve. I had to rise above all things that were bad. I was put in a position to evolve. I was pressured. Either I didn't want to die, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to die. So I ended up rising up above. And I think that really had an impact on them. Because people like that, I mean, seriously, just being honest with you, they just want you to die. Because you remind them of something that they weren't able, they weren't ever able to do. And that's just people, people don't realize, but human beings are your parents, and they have insecurities too, and they got mental health problems too, and they have resentment, they have issues that they haven't worked through when they were children, and there's some secrets they haven't told you. You see what I'm saying? Misty R says, hey everybody, what's going on? Hello. So I am in my bedroom, and I've been opening up some new devices. Y'all check out the replay. It's too painful to repeat everything. But I'm checking out, I have a handheld device. I checked out something here that didn't work too well for me. I mean, she looks great, don't she? She looks comfortable. I put it around my neck, and no, it didn't work. I didn't look like that with that around my neck. This works perfect. I suggest that. It's a clamp on it. This is the lighting I can use. So I'm trying all this hardware that my beautiful Hubbly Bubbly bought me, and I'm finally opening it out. And I was opening it up, and I shared with everybody the dark that I went through as a child, and how I overcome that, and the darkness of my parents, and some things that happened, how I was. It's hard to say how I was abused. Like hit and kicked. I shared that. I shared why they did those things. I shared what they did to me recently when I'm 58, so like 4 years ago, what they did recently. I share a lot, so y'all check out the replay, and I'm hoping that what I shared with you, it's not about me getting likes. It's about just me getting to a better place on my channel when it comes to being more comfortable and becoming a better person for me, a better human being, how I've overcome a lot, how I've become just happier. Remember, the happiest people have been through the darkest stuff. Check out the replay. I do talk about that. Intense, probably more than I've ever spoken about it in my life. So I was basically just letting people know, and I'm about to close out in a minute, but don't go anywhere because it affects my analytics. So stay until I finish. I'm a small channel, so with having a small channel, it's not about numbers. My power comes from my views, and my analytics are incredible. So I wanted to walk you through my life so you can have probably a better understanding of what kind of person I am. Why am I the way I am? Whatever it could be. Like, why is she like that? Could be something. Or you might got some, received some moments of like, oh, I can understand now. Oh, that makes sense now. And how I could still be so happy away from them. It's like being able to say it and feel good about it. That I could love them from afar. Because I end up having dreams, and my dreams will tell me some things that have probably been suppressed way in the back of my memory. And now that I'm living a healthier lifestyle, it's coming to the forefront of my forehead, of my brain, and it's coming alive. And I'm like having a whole lot of aha moments. Why this happened. Why I found these things in my dad's drawer. As far as some manipulation and stuff. But sometimes you could love somebody and they can call them family, and they will be the ones who will screw you over worse. Will screw you over worse. So I'm still kind-hearted. I'm still loving. I'm not bitter from it. You just taken me on a better level now when I could talk about it and work myself through it. And grandbaby's coming over later on. And thank you for the questions. I was happy to answer. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. And I don't know if I'm going to do it like this. Probably won't. I tested this out. I like my desktop and I like my iPad. I really don't like using my cell phone, but I'm using my cell phone. Just trying to use backups and some different things. Thank y'all for spending time for me. Check out the replay. And also, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate y'all. And I'll see you soon.